Yeah, we're going to start right now and give people time to get that notification and get in.
Get that notification.
Let me get some water.
Get some water.
Hey, that's great intro music.
Did you hear it?
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if you'd actually even seen the show.
Oh, God, yeah. I've watched it a while, I think.
Oh, really?
Good deal.
Yeah, we try to be casual.
I just watched Rebecca.
Last week was last week was like an exercise in how little do we actually know. It's like everything I went to talk about, I was like, wow, I really don't know that much. Like I have a conceptual idea of lots of things, but to be able to explain it and explain like where did I get this information? I don't know. I watched a Scott Manley video at some point, you know.
Yeah. This could be a really short program if that's going to be the case.
Yeah. Well, that one was. I think that was one of our shortest. All right. Well, Kegel, you want to hit us with them tunes?
We live on here? I don't see it.
Well, I got the notification already.
I did too.
I was going to copy the link, but I guess not. All right.
Yes, sir. Reading you loud and clear. Clear. The clock has started.
The clock is started.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
And welcome to Pressing for Flight, live from the Space Coast, where the schedule never holds. Welcome. I am your host, quote unquote. I don't really feel like a host. I've never hosted anything in my life, but I am.
You're a host.
I'm Steve.
You're the hostess with the mostest.
To my left in the thumbnails, I have Stephen Kegel. Say hello.
Hi.
Followed by Matt, founder and owner and operator of Next Horizon Spaceflight, who has a what? We have a what now?
A website.
All right.
Yeah, Next
Yeah.
Horizon
Finally.
Spaceflight.com. Go there, look at it, see what we did with a few clicks. WordPress and there's
Go see Steve-O's awesome write-ups, because Steve-O has the best write-ups. His articles are great on there.
I don't know about
Fantastic.
they're for the simple man.
No, man, your articles are pretty good, man. Mine are short, sweet, to the point. You put some thought into yours, so.
Yeah, thank you. Well, I'm gonna skip over our special guest and introduce Becca.
Hello.
Hello. We had to pull her away from the fireman activity that was happening outside her house when she got home.
No, fireman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to tell that
they're,
story?
Okay, so I encountered a group of firemen the other day during my shift at work, and there were some of them that were really cute. And when I was leaving the place, I walked past the receptionist, and it was like a sweet older lady, and I just looked at her and I went like this, and she just laughed. And earlier, right before we started the show, I noticed a loud sound outside my apartment, and I saw some lights flashing. I said, "What could this be?" So I go outside, and it's the firemen. It's the firemen
same.
it's the same group of guys.
She's like, quick, what can I catch on fire?
Yeah. You just go out there and douse yourself in gasoline.
This newspaper caught on fire here in my apartment. I don't know what happened. Oh, my goodness.
Well, they were here to like save my neighbor or something. I don't know. There was something wrong with my
Doesn't
neighbor.
matter.
But
They were at the wrong place. I don't know.
yeah,
Right.
and then they just came over and talked to me like casually while they're saving my neighbor.
Did they make the connection, or you made the connection for them, or?
Well, here's the embarrassing part I get. Well, it's not really embarrassing, but when they were leaving, they were walking up to the truck, and the one that I thought was real cute, like turned around and he waved and said, "See you later," or "Have a good night," or something. And I said, like, didn't I see you the other day? But he couldn't hear me because he
of
was
the
right next
truck.
to the truck and
Yeah.
it was loud. So I was just mouthing words and he couldn't hear me. So he just like smiled
He's
and
like,
walked behind the truck.
He's like,
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome. But we are here tonight with our special guest, fellow Tennessean turned space coaster,
Yeah.
Mr. Greg Scott, a
Mhm.
friend.
Yeehaw.
A friend I
He
made at the
does.
port a long time ago. He's been out there taking a lot of great shots. He's got the availability, y'all. He is out there paying attention and shooting the shots and sharing it on Twitter. So make sure before we get too far, I want to make sure people follow you, and I'm gonna actually pull up your Twitter so I don't get it wrong. So it's Greg Scott _photo.
That's it.
Yeah. So Greg has had a great 6 months, right? Like, let's see, when did you start your Twitter? Like, when did you actually start that Twitter? Like, I know it wasn't this year.
No, I started it probably 3 or 4 years ago, but it was when I was still in Tennessee, and I was just pulling up stuff about the balls and baseball, football, stuff like that.
Yeah, it was more like you were following other people to get news and stuff, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I had a grand total of 6 followers.
Yeah.
I was blazing a trail.
A real influencer.
I was, I was getting checks in the mail every day.
Right.
Now you got 1,000 followers. How much you getting now?
About the same.
Wow.
Yeah. So what happened? So in like what, April, you still had like the 6 followers, and then what? You just started going out to the port because you had a camera all this time, and then like what was it? What got you doing it?
When I got out there and I started, I don't know, I just took a couple of shots and I went, wow, this is fun. This is cool. So I went and got my good camera, started taking a few more pictures, and I've been hooked ever since then. I've been port stalker ever since.
Yeah. What was the first thing? Was it one of the boosters coming back?
Yeah. It was. And I think Oswey was out there too.
Yeah.
And I was just amazed.
Yeah.
And I have to give some of it to you. I'd seen your shot from the overhead shot.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the helicopter
Oswey.
one, yeah.
Yeah, the helicopter shot.
Rocket grabber.
Yeah.
First time.
Yeah.
That was a big one. That made
such a great shot.
Yeah, that was on the front page of Florida Today. Thanks, Emery Kelly. And
Yeah.
I can't find it. I can't find the damn paper. I bought like 3 copies of it, and I don't know where. And I'm worried that like maybe it was in like a drawer of a cabinet that my ex took when she moved or something. That just dawned on me. Maybe that's where it is. I don't know. It's around, or maybe I gave one to my dad and I just forgot, and he's got one, and that'll be awesome.
Hopefully it's in a frame somewhere.
I mean, I've got a picture of it.
Yeah.
I've got a picture of me with it, but anyway, this is about you, Greg. Yeah, and I warned you before we started to just kind of ponder what you would say to why space. Why does space draw you in? I'm sure it's different for everybody.
Yeah, it is. And I got to thinking about it after we talked about it. And I remembered back in Tennessee, my parents bringing me down we were going to Disney World, and we came over, and I think it was Apollo 8. I remember it was a Saturn V,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it was Apollo 8 that went up. And when you're a 10-year-old kid and you see that, and you feel that ground rumble, and you feel the energy and the sound waves coming for you, that's just something that's hard to get out of your system.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know that that's ever left me.
Right.
And ever since then, I guess we came back down. I watched probably 5 or 6 shuttle take off. Saw the last 3 take off.
Oh, it's so cool.
Jealous.
Man.
Yeah, I never got to see one.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm got a little age on you guys. So.
Well, but I was around, and I was into it like when it was coming up to the last shuttle flight, and it was on the calendar, and I was wanting to make a trip down, and I was broke as hell back then. I wasn't very good with money, and I had a crummy car, and it broke down like a week before, and it's like, yeah, there's no way I'm going down there. So I never got to see one.
Yeah, I got fortunate to live here since the late 80s.
Yeah.
So I've seen the whole program. Well, not the whole program.
Yeah, pretty close though.
My childhood was around that the shuttle program.
Yeah, I was fortunate. I got to bring my kids to one of them, and that kind of changed their life too. I mean, they fell in love with it
Really?
at that point. Oh yeah.
That's cool.
I mean, when you stand at Titusville and you can literally almost see that shock wave coming across. You know,
I've
and
heard that
it's
with the
just,
shuttle, because of the solids, man, I've heard that there was a visible shock wave, and
there is.
it like coming across the water, right?
Yeah, yeah. You could see the water start to ripple and to move, and the atmospheric distortion
Yeah.
coming at you,
Oh,
and it's surreal.
yeah.
I mean, just talking about it, I got goosebumps bumps on me.
Yeah, like it
It's
seems
something
like
you
it,
just don't forget.
like when you see something like that, that it should be something's wrong, right? but it's
Yeah.
exciting, and it's
Yeah.
good, but it's like a controlled explosion. It's literally a controlled
Yeah.
explosion.
Well, it's almost as good as like watching Falcon Heavy come back and land side by side. It's kind of that same feeling. It's like, wow, is this real?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
we're watching the Jetsons or
right.
what?
Well, the
you know?
flat earthers would say that we're just watching an LCD screen.
Biggest damn screen I ever seen.
That's what they'll tell you.
Now, see, Craig, that's really cool that you did that with your kids, because I'm kind of more or less trying to do the same thing with my son as well. He was with me for DM1,
Mhm.
and that kid's met more astronauts than probably a lot of kids out there. He's met
Yeah.
Al Warden twice. You know what
Oh,
I mean?
cool.
So, yeah, he's
Oh,
met
that's really
Warden.
cool.
Yeah, he's been Al Warden a few times. But I'm kind of more or less doing the same thing with my son too. So it's pretty awesome to hear that.
Well, if they're anything like us, you know, you see it once, that's all you need.
That's it.
Yeah,
You're hooked,
That's it.
absolutely.
or you just don't care. One or the other. There's no gray area here.
Yeah, I want to meet somebody that, well, someone other than someone that's lived here all their life, but someone that just comes down and sees one launch and isn't affected by it. I mean, I understand not everybody's going to, change their life and, move to the Space Coast and, become an engineer or whatever, but I can't imagine how it couldn't affect you,
I agree.
And and actually that was one of the downsides. Like the only negative of whenever I first moved here was finding out how many of the locals that have been here all their life that just don't care,
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it could be that, and this was kind of a theory that I came up with after talking to several of them, is that they felt like they got burned when the shuttle program ended, because it was like that was like Brevard's pride was that they built the shuttle, or at least put it together and they launched it, and a lot of people, themselves or maybe their parents or people they knew got laid off when it was canceled, But at the same time, they knew it was coming for a while, I was reading an article about it, and they're like, and I don't remember what the article was or who the author was, but they made the point, like, they knew this was coming, and they had plenty of time to update their resumes, and it didn't have to be that bad of a thing. And then but if you go from the shuttle to like Falcon 9s and Atlas, they're great for us to watch, and we love watching them. But if you're used to the space shuttle, I guess I could see how you'd see those as just little pencils going up in the sky.
Yeah.
But,
There is a big difference.
yeah,
It's like
yeah,
people live around Disney, they're like, I hate Disney, or I don't like it.
yeah.
But then there's all over the world, they're like, oh, I can't wait to go, and
Yeah.
blah blah blah.
Good point.
So,
Well, I've been about
You're
10
close
times,
to it,
and
you
I
just
still
get
want to
tempted.
go. So,
Before we start getting
anybody
into
got a kid, they can rent me so I can go again.
Becca's got a cat.
I
That'll
do.
work.
Yeah. I wanted to mention that we all applied for NASA Social. Unfortunately, not all of us got in. I did get the acceptance letter. Whoop whoop. It's really hard for me to celebrate this, knowing that not all of us got in, or not even
You deserve
not
it.
even two of us got in.
Not even
Kegel-
my dad power, man.
Yeah, I really expected that to work. I mean, but we have to understand that so many people apply. Did you apply, Greg, for the NASA Social?
No.
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 Kegel did get waitlisted, so if someone bails,
Number 17th.
they actually gave you a number.
A date. Yeah, where's that? November 19th.
Oh, is
I
when
forgot.
you'll know if you got added. Okay,
Yeah.
because I mean, a lot of people apply. Well, hell, even Julia, like she applied to the one in Wallops and got accepted, and then wasn't able to go, and
Couldn't
then
go,
and then
yeah.
somebody else, and it was. I think it was in the Discord for the Space Coast Launch Ambassador. Somebody was like, "Hey, I just got off the wait list. I'm in." And Julia was like, "Well, I just informed them that I couldn't go, so I wonder if you just got my spot." So that was kind of neat.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But for listeners out there, I'm pretty sure I have decided that when I stream from, whatever opportunities I get to stream from the NASA social, I'm going to be doing it on the Pressing for Flight Twitter and the Next Horizons Twitter. So probably not on my own. So definitely follow me if you please, if you're not already, but make sure you're following Pressing for Flight and Next Horizons. That's Next Horizons _ because I use Next Horizons as kind of like what I'm under for this, so I think that might have had something to do with it, and so I want to make sure to deliver content to all the things, you know what I'm saying? But just make sure you're following those things for whenever that comes. And that launch, as far as I know right now, is scheduled for December 4th. Is that right? Yeah.
They're saying.
Yes.
All right. But we're here to talk about Starlink. But we're not going to talk about Starlink yet,
Yeah.
because first,
Yeah.
Starlink.
before
That's what we're talking about.
before anything Starlink
Abort.
happened, Monday morning, Boeing did their pad abort test with their Starliner. So I got up early, it's not early for most people, but for me, it's early to wake up that early to watch something. But I always do. Here, actually, I should share my screen so you guys can see it.
Yep, Wednesday, December 4th at 12:48 p.m. is CRS 19.
So this is a
Correct.
much better video than what
Oh wow.
than what was live streamed.
Oh
from
yeah,
Boeing.
they had some horrible videos.
Yeah.
And I want to say that during the lead up, the hosts were talking about how they have these like top of the line tracking cameras.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Top of the line.
So these, yeah. I thought that was kind of fun. Like I forgot about it at the time, and while I'm watching, I'm like, man, come on, guys, I understand, when you're holding a physical camera, but then I was like, wait a minute, didn't they say they have tracking cameras on this? It's not a guy holding it.
Yeah, it was a
Computer
top of
track.
the line.
Well, I don't know if they said top of the line, but I don't know, however they worded it, but they made sure to that they were going to have a great show. You were going to get to see it all, and then the tracking cameras just did not work.
It was like somebody holding a potato, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
it wasn't just one of them that didn't work.
Yeah, it was all
three
of them. Yeah. Yeah. Oh man, I wish this camera would have caught the service module crashing into the ground, because I haven't seen that.
It's actually pretty smooth.
Yeah, it came down real soft, even though one of them parachutes did not deploy.
Oh,
you were going a little quicker.
Yeah, they're going a little quicker than what they should have been, but they still said that it was within the parameters of the test. But I think that that's not going to be okay. And they may have already had more parachute tests planned, but if they didn't, I guarantee you NASA's going to make them do more. They got to figure out why that parachute didn't deploy.
Yeah.
They came out with that today, I believe.
Oh, did they? Did they put out something about how they're going to do more? Okay. Well, that's good.
Well, Boeing says that it was a human error. There was a pin that was not completely put through a ring in a
I wonder if I could find it.
In a rope. And it was human error.
Boeing statements.
I have a problem calling that a full success, but at the same time, it kind of showed us that 2 parachutes would do the job. It would
still survive.
Yeah, well,
how many G's you get when the thing takes off? Like if you did separate.
I don't know. I want to say and I may be thinking about Dragon, but I want to say it's like 6 or 7.
Cool.
You
It's
know,
like,
I'm sure it'd be similar because they have a limit of what they'll allow it to be with humans on board. You know, they want to get them out of there as quickly as possible, but you don't want to pancake them to their seat. Yeah, so hopefully they get that worked out and it doesn't delay anything. They've said that they don't foresee that causing any delays to the uncrewed test, right? So that's still planned for December 17th. And, you know, since NASA is not letting me in for real media, I guess I'm waiting for the NASA social application for that too.
Yet.
Yeah.
Yet.
I've thought about calling back and be like, hey, we got a website.
I mean,
like I don't want to bug you, but hey, we went ahead and made that. I told you we'd look into it. We just went ahead and did it.
Yeah.
This
has been something we've been trying to do for quite a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So this has been a journey for us.
Yeah.
We got the website. It looks great. We're slowly putting it together, but this is the last leg. Getting NASA approved is going to be. Somebody's throwing a party. I mean, somebody's bringing beer and we're throwing a party. This is going to be freaking awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. But, you know, it's okay. It's to have, you know, just another goal to look forward to, you know.
Exactly.
So, you know, we're not too upset. And then, you know, I got in for NASA Social, so I can't be too upset. Yeah. Because, I mean, actually, NASA Social people a lot of times get to see cooler stuff than actual media people. You know, they'll take them behind the scenes in places that the media doesn't get to go.
Mm-hmm.
Rub it in, why don't you?
Oh yeah, we were going to talk about how Becca felt when she got her email.
Okay,
she didn't even want to apply.
This is not my thing. Okay, it's not. I'm not. You guys, we talked about this on episode 1. The whole reason I'm here is because I'm interested vaguely in the stuff, but I have a lot of questions. And so I thought, you know, Steve-O talked me into it. He was like, you are the kind of person they want. You're going to be the kind of person that doesn't have an audience full of people that already know all of this stuff. You're going to be reaching people that don't know this stuff. And so he talked me into applying, and I didn't even really want to do it. And I put some effort into the little essay where it said what can you bring to the table, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then I got the email today and I read it, and it said, you know, we've got too many applications of qualified people and not enough spots. So you're worthless. Sorry. And I can't explain it, but I teared up a little bit. It made me really sad. Maybe it's just rejection in general. I don't know. But it did make me really sad that I didn't get to do it. But I'm going to try. I'm going to keep trying. Because I do think that I have an interesting perspective to offer.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think everybody that applies for it, I think it's probably 4 or 5 times before usually you get in.
Yeah.
2 years.
It's sort of a roll of the dice thing because it was part of what we used to convince her to go ahead and apply because, you know, she's like, I have no followers and all this stuff, but I've only done one NASA social before, but I met people who had very few followers. Like they had less than 100 followers and they got in. And it's just they give the opportunity to a few people, and it might be a roll of the dice. You know, they're like, hey, okay, we've got 5 slots for people that have almost no following, and then, you know, the rest they want to fill with people that do or something. I'm sure they have some sort of a system like that. So it's just kind of a roll of the dice. And the fact that you live close by, you might as well apply for all of them, you know, and you've got a flexible job. And so eventually you'll get in, you know.
Yeah. I just put, I want in under the description.
I need this.
I want in.
The first one I got in was Demo 1, the Crew Dragon Demo 1. And that was the first one that I actually sort of pleaded. I was like, you know, and I always included that I moved here for this. That's always been my opening line. I moved to Cocoa Beach because I had to be closer to this stuff. But then, like, the last line was like, I've been applying to these for a long time and I haven't gotten in yet, but it would just mean the world to me if I could get in for this one. And I went on about how, you know, a lot of people might gloss over this because there's not actually people on board, but I think I might be able to help people understand the importance of this mission and stuff. And who knows if that helped at all, but it was that was the route that I took with that paragraph on that one.
If I was reading it, it would have helped.
Cool. All right. Well, let's give Becca
Take
a job at the NASA Social on the NASA Social team,
That's
and
what
then
I
she'll
should
just
apply
let us all
for.
in.
Yeah, there you go.
Now, see, DM1 was one of those launches that not only was it a great launch, it was at night, and everybody got good footage and good pictures of that launch.
Mm-hmm.
It was awesome for me because I had my son with me, so he was able to witness that, and I also got to spend the launch with Chris Boyd of the Space Hipsters and Tori from Space Dealers. So Space Dealers was on Netflix. They ended up canceling the show, but if you've seen the Space Dealers, you know what it's all about. It's kind of like those auction type shows, what are some like Storage
That's,
Wars, or
I mean, it's American Pickers, but
like
from
American Pickers, but with space stuff. So like one of the first episodes
old
was
junk.
they went to Al Warden's house and was trying to, talk him into, getting one of his tether. You know what I mean? So so I ended up spending DM1 with her, you know what I mean? Which I've hung out with her a few times. She's a good friend of mine, but again, it will always, hold a special place in my heart because it was awesome.
Yeah. Well,
still got the mosquito bites to prove it.
Let's talk about how this launch withdrawal is finally going to go away. Finally.
About time.
Man, like I can't tell you how much of a difference I just feel in my own mood recently, just in the last few days. And it started with let's see. All right, yeah. So Tuesday morning. Now I heard from a birdie. I have a job that sometimes puts me face to face with SpaceX employees, and if I feel comfortable, I'll ask them questions. And most of the time it's like, oh, I don't know, that's not my department, or I can't even talk about that. But this day, I said, hey, I'm going to ask you this just because you're the only person I know to ask, and you're standing in front of me. When are we going to see Starlink launch? And this was before we had a date. This was over a week ago, and he was like, oh, and then it dawned on me. He goes, oh, 11/11. I was like, really? Like, yeah, 11/11. Static fire on Tuesday. Oh, okay, all right, cool. He's like, yeah, 10 a.m. static fire Tuesday. Sweet. Okay. Are you all right? You're giving me some good info here. And then. Yeah, so I took that, and then I emailed a couple like reporter friends, and it's like, hey man, I just heard this. Have you heard this? And some of them were like yeah, I'd heard that rumored, and then some were like, no, that's totally news to me. And so it was just kind of like one of those, I didn't want to talk about it publicly, or on Twitter or anything, and just see if it was right, kind of test this person's gangsta, and turned out he was right.
Yeah, I got an email at my work that they wanted us out there.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Right
man.
after that, Kegel got an email about how they needed internet support out there at the press site, and I was like, okay, well, this sounds like confirmation to me.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be out there at 7 a.m.
Yeah. Oh yeah, bright and early. Getting up with the sun.
Got my big lens coming.
Getting up at Greg's time.
Right.
So Tuesday, well, actually Monday, Becca and I drove up to Titusville just to see if it was vertical. We went up to the Kirk Point Riverside Park. That's the name of it. If you want to
say it 3 times fast.
Kirk Point Riverside Park. Yeah. Kirk Point Riverside Park. It's actually a really good park. It's like most people go for what is it? Space View Park.
Space View Park.
Yeah, and honestly, I've actually never even been there. I've never been to Space View Park. I know, it's crazy. And I saw some pictures from it recently, so now I know that I need to go up there. But this Kirk Point Riverside Park is near the Walgreens on US 1, and it doesn't have much parking, but for launch viewing, nobody's ever said anything to me parking on the grass, and lots of people do, and I think they just overlook it, but it's got this little pier this wooden pier that sticks out into the water a little ways, which is actually directly west of SLC 40. And that that's what allowed me. I got that one shot where the rocket was just going straight up in the middle. It was a streak photo, but it looked like it looked it looked like a lightsaber or something. It was just a straight streak right in the middle of the shot. But it's a great place to watch, and that's where we went to go see if it was vertical. It was not vertical, so we waited for a little while, and to no avail. It never
Got some cool pictures of some birds, though.
Yeah, we did get to see some birds. The viewers are seeing this osprey chow down on this fish right now because I've got my Twitter page pulled up because I've got the tweet from the next day. But enjoy that osprey. He's enjoying that fish. Yeah, so I get out there Tuesday morning about 9. Wait, when did I post this? I guess I could probably just click on this. 9:12 is when I posted this photo, and well, it was just obvious that it was there. There was a little bit of haze, a little atmospheric distortion. One thing you learn being here, or probably anywhere where there's lots of water, if you're looking across a body of water, you're going to get more atmospheric distortion than you would otherwise. You know, obviously that's amped up if it's hot, you know, because as the heat rises, it messes with the light and stuff. So I'm looking through a bunch of atmospheric distortion, but it's bearable. And I'm hoping that they're going to do it soon. Of course, you know, I'd been told 10 a.m., but I also know how these things go. That's just like the start of the window. It's not necessarily when it's going to happen. So I'm hanging out and, you know, checking every so often, you know, I have to get in my car because it starts getting too hot. So I just have my camera next to me and I just kind of every once in a while I'll just peek, you know, and see if there's any venting, and there was never any venting. And then it got to be, let's see, 11:07. It was when I took my last shot from there, and it was starting to get hazy. I'll show you guys just for the heck of it. You can see at the base of the lightning towers that like it kind of fades away because that haze is starting to build up because the heat, you know, it's getting hotter and everything. And I'm starting to worry that I may not be able to see the venting if it starts. So I get my camera, you know, packed up, get the tripod, throw it in the trunk, and then I take one last look before I leave because I know that it takes 26 minutes to get from this spot to Exploration Tower, and then a couple of minutes to check in at the front desk and then get up to the top. And I was so worried that I was going to pull out of this park and then the venting was going to start and then the static fire was going to happen before I got there. But I got lucky. You don't have to worry about that. But funny story. All right, I should show you guys this too. I don't know if you were paying attention that day, Greg, but I took this photo from the top of Exploration Tower thinking that I was looking at pad 40. And I say something about, oh, and wouldn't you know it? I know, you know, yeah. I was like, wouldn't you know it? There's this big tanker that's spewing heat and distortion right into my field of view. What I'm looking at is 39B with the mobile launcher on it, but I was so quick to set up my camera, I didn't even realize that. And you know, I'm kind of bummed out, and I'm like, man, this view is even worse. Like it got way hazier out here. And but then
Part of launch withdrawal.
Then it yeah.
We're grasping for straws.
Yeah. But then it dawned on me I was pointed at the wrong pad. I was pointed at a pad that's probably another 7 miles north, and that's why it looked so hazy.
What a dope.
I know.
Call yourself Scapegoat Steve.
I'm telling you. Yeah, so I found the right pad, and turns out there was no venting at first. Let's see. So I got there, and I figured out I was pointing at the right pad at 12:04, and then I saw the first sign of venting at 12:14, and per the instructions from both Julia and Chris B, when you see the first big vent, you got like 20 minutes. And so, you know, obviously I took that into consideration, and I've got the video. Yeah, the video's on the Twitter, but I'm gonna show all these everybody's the actual straight out of the camera, raw. Well, it's not raw. I guess I edited a little bit, but no, this is the raw. Yeah, this is actually the raw right here. This is no edits. Like I didn't even no contrast or anything. So this is straight out of the camera.
Cool.
And I counted about, let's see, where's it? Oh, right here. I counted about 8 to 10 seconds on that static fire. Let's see. Because if you watch this area right here, you can see, or no, right here, you see the ripples and how, it's being pushed out. It's hard to tell exactly when this cloud stops growing, but if you watch right here, you can tell, when it starts being really forced out of there. And I think it was about 8 to 10 seconds, which is longer than usual, right? Aren't they usually just like anywhere from like 3 to 7 seconds?
Yeah, that is a little longer than normal.
Yeah. So that was interesting. Big day.
Hopefully a good sign.
It turns out, or at least as far as I know at this point, I haven't seen anybody else's video, but I was the only one that got a video of it. There were several other pictures that came out later on in the day, but I felt pretty good about, being able to get that video so everybody could see it. And even old Chris B. I look up to the man, he is NASA space flight. I've been reading his articles, him and Chris G and everyone that works for, if it's a NASA space flight article, then I almost always read it. Like there's not many that I ever miss just because they've always got the best information. So, for him to use a video of mine is pretty cool. And I know that you just had something like that recently because, Teslarati used your photo. Actually, I'll switch over to that one. Yeah, use your photo of Miss Chief and Miss Tree leaving yesterday, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But they weren't.
Yeah.
They weren't leaving for good, right?
No, they weren't. But now this morning, yeah, they were going out. But I got them yesterday afternoon as they were just going out on the test run.
Yeah. So wait, so did they leave? They've left now?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I stayed out there till about lunch today, and they were still there.
Mm-hmm.
I hadn't been back since then.
Yeah, John Krause had gotten that photo of them doing some work on the arms, where the net meets the arm, it seemed like. Who knows, we don't get to know what they're doing over there, but we definitely...
I didn't see any activity or anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
The Miss Tree and Miss Chief are really pretty fast. So
yeah. Yeah, they haul. They are really quick. Yeah. They'll get back a full day ahead of everybody else sometimes, right?
Oh, easily.
Well, I say they. This is actually the first time Miss Chief has been out there to actually catch a fairing. So that was one of the things I want to talk about is how many firsts there are on this mission. There's actually a lot. It's the first operational batch of Starlink satellites, which is pretty cool, because this is the start of them building their constellation. But not only that, this is going to be the first time that a booster has been flown for the fourth time. So fourth flown booster. It's going to be the first time they've reused fairings, and from what I can tell, it's both fairing halves from Arabsat.
Yes,
is that correct? And what's weird is they were both fished out of the water, right?
Yeah,
they were not caught, but they were both recovered out of the water, and will be used on this one. I'm showing your photo of course, I Still Love You leaving today with Hawk pulling. Everybody enjoy that. Man, I love that you're just always out there. When nobody else can be out there, you can usually count on Greg. But anyway, let's see. So yeah, it's the boosters being flown for the fourth time, the fairings. Oh, and it's the first time that both fairing halves are hopefully going to be caught.
Right.
Because this will be Miss Chief's debut mission. And I wanted to show this video, and I was showing it to Becca last night, and I was trying to explain some things. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I should just save this for the show.
I refused to learn anything.
Yeah, she closed her ears, and yeah, it was really awkward. Okay, so like I've never seen anybody close their ears like that. She didn't even have to use her hands.
Like a 5-year-old.
So, all right. So, wait, before I hit play on this, I should. Oh, I forgot I had this running this whole time. I had the stream from Starlink going from the last Starlink. Okay, so I know you know this, but just picture up here. This is your fairing. It's protecting the satellite, right? And which one was it? Okay. And here you're inside that fairing looking down. All right, you're looking down. This is the satellite here, and satellites all are funny looking. You can't make any sense out of what these things are. Someone can, but I can't. So this is a fisheye lens, so your view is a little distorted. This is looking like straight down. This is looking down the wall of the fairing half that you're on, and over here is the other half. And I'm pretty sure this right here is your seam between the two, and probably right down in here too. So you're looking over at the other half of fairing, and this is your half. All right.
I got it.
You got it?
Finally. Yes.
Okay.
All right, Becca.
And then they separate, and you see the second stage.
I love that waffling as it falls off.
Oh yeah, they're like warping. The reason it flashes like this is just a camera thing, because these cameras are on auto exposure, and when these fairings separate, it's all of a sudden there's just a ton of light, and it takes a second for the cameras to adjust. But as they do, you can see this is like the bottom of the second stage, and then the Merlin engine is right here, and you see the engine bell here, and it's red hot. And you've seen, in fact, I could probably quickly show you right here. Yes, perfect. So this is looking down at from like the bottom of the tank, right? Can you see this? Can you see this good enough, or do I need to blow it up?
Blow
it up.
Okay.
Load up.
So this is the bottom of the engine bell. Okay, let's see. I wish the exposure could adjust a little bit quicker. All right, so this is the bottom, the tank of the second stage here. And the camera is like somewhere in here, or it's tucked somewhere up in these bits here, pointed down at the engine nozzle. And the flames, it's not really flaming because there's no oxygen in space. A little bit of the fire escapes out just the edges of the nozzle, because it's hot, real hot. But once it gets out away from the nozzle, if your engine's running properly, you've burned all the oxygen, right? There's nothing to cause flame out here, and that's why they look that way. Once they're in space, there's no ambient oxygen in the atmosphere, because there is no atmosphere to have the oxygen to burn.
What?
Oh, I was like, he's trying to get me. All right, so here in this view, you're looking down from that tank onto the engine bell, and it's glowing red hot. Here, the exposure's a little different, but you see the exhaust coming out of there. Is this making sense here? And actually, we might even, I don't know if we can catch the fairings. We might be able to catch the fairings being jettisoned, although it is dark. I don't really want to sit here and wait. But okay, so anyway. Yeah, we want to watch that wobble before we move on.
Wobble.
Watch the wobble. And then that's how far the second stage has already made it just in that time. And then there's the other fairing. Did you see it?
Yeah.
That's the other fairing falling away.
So what we're inside in this video is the one of them.
Yeah, one of the fairing halves.
Okay, so it's the same thing from the beginning where it had the satellites. Is that what it was? Okay.
Yeah, it just doesn't show that part for very long, is why I had to pause it there.
Okay.
And then You've got the so the fairings are flipping and falling, and I guess once they hit the atmosphere, I don't know. I'm not sure if it's like their shape naturally makes them go like curvy side down, or if they need those parachutes to orient them that way. But ultimately, they deploy these parachutes that are steered autonomously. It's a computer doing it, and it's unclear how much communication is going on, if any, between the boat and the fairing as it's coming down. But it comes down pretty slow. Those parachutes are open pretty high up in the atmosphere, but then that gives the boats time to line up underneath it, and then it just comes down. I was trying to find the video where there was no jumpiness like this, because I know that there was one that was put out that was the actual, like, the file out of the camera, but this is like being streamed, so it's a little bit jumpy. And then they learned to cut the parachute rather than leave the parachute, because there was one that they had the fairing in the net, but the parachute pulled it off.
Pulled it off.
Yeah, the wind pulled it right back out.
Yep.
Yeah.
So they learned to cut that chute, which I think was a great idea. Personally, I mean, if they were to ask
Now,
me,
I haven't seen it on a tape yet. There may be some out there, but that fairing also has its own boosters on it too as it's coming down.
its own
I
like
read
little
that.
thrusters, like
Yeah,
little.
it does.
Well,
Yeah,
you know, it does
it
have
has-
little tanks on the inside of that. Right?
It
Yeah,
has
there's little tanks
thrusters.
inside there.
I believe it's 4 little thrusters on it that help guide it
Help get it
into the net.
curvy side down.
Yeah.
As it hits the atmosphere.
It's really amazing the kind of things that we can do.
Yeah.
They can, not we.
And one of the things that kind of frustrates me is like you see SpaceX doing this stuff and you just don't see anybody else doing it. You know?
Nope.
And I love the other launch providers. I love, you know, watching Atlas or Delta. I love watching them and all that, you know, and I just wish that they were pursuing more something like this. Like they were more geared towards bringing down the cost of space. Do it in your own way, you know. And I know that ULA with Vulcan, they are pursuing the smart reuse system where they're going to detach the engines, bring those down under parachutes, catch them in midair, you know. And I hope that works. It's not going to be part of the system when Vulcan first starts launching, which I totally understand. I mean, Falcon 9 didn't have legs when it first started launching. Hell, the engines were arranged like tic-tac-toe instead of in a circle. You remember that? Like it had 4 corners. And then it was like a big deal when they changed it. Oh, now it's circular.
Hey, we got a comment here from Fragman. It says it has cold gas thrusters. I think there's a video of it orienting somewhere.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that'd be
Cold.
great to see.
Cold gas
Yeah,
thruster.
cold gas thrusters. Well, there was that one video that they put out where there was all these like weird colors coming out, like as the fairing was entering the atmosphere. Those beautiful colors. I wonder. Maybe I can find it real quick. Oh, beautiful. All right, yeah, let's watch this. After we watch this Gillette commercial.
It's the best the man can get.
Is it?
I mean,
I
it's
don't
pretty
know.
close.
I'd keep a beard.
I prefer an electric razor.
Same.
Yeah, it's a lot easier.
Okay, yeah. This is so cool. Now, I don't know if this is the one that's going to show the RCS thrusters, though. But, oh, man, I never noticed that before. There's some coming through, because there's holes around the fairing so that as it goes up through the atmosphere, it can equalize the pressure. But, yeah, I never noticed that there's some coming through there. But that is
cool.
just so neat.
That is badass.
Yeah. Oh, whoops, I didn't mean to pause it.
Make that my screensaver.
And then this is just they skipped forward. By the way, it like faded into. Oh yeah, and then it's okay. That's cool. They have this one. Boink. And that was the first catch, I think. Oh, well, cool.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's the video that Fragman was talking about.
But at least we got to see it.
Yeah, that was cool. Yeah, I was wanting to include
know,
that, but I didn't know I'd be able to find it that easily.
10 years ago, if you had been talking about this, having fairings come back down on a chute and having thrusters and landing on a boat, people would have looked at you like you were absolutely out of your mind.
Yeah, there's no
They'd
way.
be like, it's too expensive. You got all this equipment now.
Yeah, why would you waste your money even trying to do that? What, you're going to buy
Yeah.
boats and rig them up with arms and nets? Yeah, right.
Yeah. With a drone ship.
$6 million for a pair of fairings, yes.
And, the $6 million is nice, but it's they need to launch frequently, and those fairings are a big bottleneck for them. It takes them a really long time to produce them, and they need to launch a bunch of Starlink satellites. This is only one of, dozens. They've said that they need 12 just to get where they're operational. They need 12 launches just to get where they're operational. And Gwen Shotwell has said that they want to be launching like once every other week, these Starlink satellites, alongside all the other missions that they have to do. And now luckily they've cleared most of their manifests. Like, you remember when, SpaceX used to have this long list of customers that were just waiting to be launched. They've launched everybody now. As far as I know, that was something I read in the last few weeks that I'm sure they've brought on more customers and stuff, but they're all caught up. And so they're free to launch their own stuff. They have their NASA missions, of course. And I'm sure they have some for the DoD and whatever, but they've got a big, just a open plate. They can just launch all their satellites, and it's going to be awesome. We're going to see launches every other week, or at least close to it. We'll be seeing at least 2 per month, just from SpaceX.
Doesn't hurt my feelings.
No.
Yeah, you guys will be so happy
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So happy all the time.
Like hidden candy.
My boss might not be. I just keep reminding her, I'm pursuing a dream. I want to do this for a living.
Go ahead and retire, Steve.
Yeah, right. And I'll be able to pay 1 more month's rent, and then I'll be living on the beach. So
You got that new Apple card. You can last a little bit.
do what?
So you got that new Apple credit card. You can last.
Oh
maybe 2
yeah,
months.
I can last. Okay. That'll buy me a couple extra weeks probably. Now, while we're talking about the launch, which, by the way, it is scheduled for the 11th, which is Monday morning, which is also the same morning as the transit of Mercury. That's coming up. Mercury is going to cross the disk of the sun Monday morning. You can get your local times. Just Google, transit of Mercury, 2019, and you'll easily be able to find something where they will ask you where you are, and it'll tell you when you need to be looking. But it's going to be in the morning, and for us, it is after sunrise. It starts like 7 something, and then goes to like 1 in the afternoon. But Mercury is going. It's just Mercury is orbiting the sun, and it's gonna slowly drift across the face of the sun. And if you have a telescope with a solar filter or some other way, there's several ways of looking at it. You can have a telescope without a solar filter. I really didn't mean to get off on this Mercury tangent, but while I'm here, if you have a telescope, you can point it perfectly at the sun. Don't look through that eyepiece. Whatever you do, do not look through that eyepiece, but you can hold a piece of paper out from the eyepiece, and it'll project the image of the sun onto that piece of paper, and then you'll, in one spot, you'll see a little dot, and that'll be Mercury. It's basically it's like a lunar, or not a lunar. It's like a solar eclipse. It just doesn't cover up the whole thing because Mercury is very small and very far away.
Great time lapse.
Yeah, and actually now that we've got the launch, there's no way I can get one. I was looking into getting a solar filter for my camera, but it's pointless now because all my cameras are going to be in use. But I do still have my eclipse glasses, so I'll be checking it out throughout the day.
I'll borrow those while we're out there.
But yeah, it's something worth seeing. It's one of those things you can't see, and you might think, well, you could see that every year. Well, no, not really, because it just has to do with the tilt of the orbit in relation to where Mercury is. You don't always see Mercury transiting across the sun, even if it does go from one side of the sun to the other from our perspective. You don't always get to see it because it'll be above or below from our perspective, right? So, it's one of those things, it's worth seeing just because you may not get to see that again. But back to the launch. So I'm showing a map. Might as well just share so you guys can at least see what I'm talking about. So
hey, that's where we.
So right here, I guess maybe it'd be helpful to zoom out for a second, just show everybody. See, this is Florida. Here is the Earth. That is a sweet Earth, you might say.
Flat.
Round.
It looks pretty flat to me.
Yeah.
So down here is Cape Canaveral, the town Cape Canaveral, and below that is Cocoa Beach. Here you've got Merritt Island, and over here is Titusville. Port St. John is before Titusville, but Titusville's up here. Titusville is famous for being a good spot to watch launches from because, well, it is. Because anywhere along US 1 is a good spot to see the launches over here. Because right here is Pad 40, which is where they're launching from. And if you're directly across, you're about 13 miles from the launch pad, which allows you to definitely see it, and you can hear it. Feeling it, maybe not so much, maybe during the loudest point you might be able to feel it. Actually, the only place you really can feel it and be like, I'm feeling it is up here at Kennedy Space Center. If you go to the visitor complex, take a ride over to the Apollo Center, which the Apollo Center is up here, but you're still only maybe 4 or 5 miles. It's probably 5 miles if you're at the Apollo Center. Even from the main visitor complex, you're probably 5 or 6 miles there, so that's not bad, and you can definitely feel it from there. Up here at Max Brewer Bridge, this bridge is pretty tall, so if you park at either end, there's a parking lot at either end of this, and you can walk. There's a sidewalk on both sides of the bridge, and you can walk right up on the bridge. And you can walk from up there. And I've not watched the launch from up here, but my assumption is once you're up top, you can see to the pad. As long as the VAB is not in the way, which I don't think it is. I think if I had the ability to draw a straight line on here, I would, but I don't have that ability. But what's actually closer, surprisingly, is Port Canaveral. I know that I did the measurement the other day because I was trying to decide if I should stay in Titusville or go to the Exploration Tower. Exploration Tower is only 10 miles from Pad 40. And even better if you're up here on 401, if you go up to 401, there is there's a launch viewing area right there that, as a civilian, you are totally allowed to be at. The only catch is you got to get there early because it is first come, first serve. They actually even have bleachers set up there, but they will only allow as many cars as will fit. And you are no longer, you used to be able to, but you're no longer allowed to park along all this road right here. So you got to get there earlier than the normal suggested hour before launch. That's what I usually tell people is get there an hour before launch. You should be fine. But that doesn't apply to 401. You need to get there hours before.
2 hours.
Yeah, 2 or 3. Yeah. So, but basically anywhere on the coast is fine. If you were to, if you come here for the launch, you're probably going to want to see liftoff. So this probably doesn't really pertain to you. But I always tell tourists that I run into that maybe aren't actually here for the launch. They came on vacation and there just happens to be one. And they're like, well, where should I go? I don't know. And I'm like, well, if especially if it's late at night, like if you don't want to get out and you don't want to drive for a half hour to go see something, I understand that. Just walk out to the beach.
Go to the beach.
Just go to the beach. Wherever you're at, go to the beach. I didn't even mention Playa Linda, by the way. Playa Linda's up here, and that's an option.
Steve-O, some guys here are commenting saying if you right-click, you can select measure distance and you can draw a line.
Get out of here.
Cool.
Okay.
And it'll give you the exact distance.
I was trying to pull up.
Thanks.
Let's see. Do I need to? Let's see. I'll right click on this. Measure
Yes, you
distance.
were.
Drag. Oh wait. Oh no. Drag to change. Click to remove. And then what? And then I right click over here.
That's what it says.
Distance
Right
to
click
here.
and you can measure distance.
He can draw straight lines.
Oh, I can draw lines.
All right, Harry and Fragment, you just opened up a whole new world.
Yes. Okay. Now
Thanks,
can I do multiples? Oh, what did I do? Oh, I can draw distances everywhere. Oh, this is great.
Yeah.
All right. Clear
It's gonna be
measure.
like Oprah now. You get a distance. You get a distance.
Okay, so that was what 13.75 to Max Brewer. Well, I don't know if I need to keep doing this, but there we go. Okay, 10 miles to 401. So that's and you've got a good view. I've watched a couple launches from 401. It's actually a pretty good spot.
And Cars Park's not bad either.
Oh, Cars Park, man! I keep meaning to watch one from there. I want to do
It's a really good spot.
I want to do a streak shot from there because they've got this little dock, and it seems like the kind of place where not a whole lot of people are there. Does it get packed?
It's usually, yeah.
Oh,
It's usually pretty full,
okay. I didn't realize that.
but it is a good site to watch from.
All right.
Plenty of parking.
Oh, yes. Okay, so hopefully... Wait, I should look at the comments, too. Everybody satisfied? Okay, yeah. And actually, I use Google Maps on my phone for it because Google Earth on my phone to get those distances, but Google Maps doesn't have that, like as the crow flies distances. So I didn't realize you could do it. Thank you for pointing that out for me. Now let's talk about this. Let's go into the speculation zone.
Uh-oh.
Yes. So these pictures came out not long before we started, or at least that I saw. I guess man, I didn't realize he posted that 8 hours ago. Wow. Okay. So I just was not paying attention. But look at these massive thrusters that SpaceX fleet says that he has on good faith that these are being installed onto Just Read the Instructions.
Wow.
He's got some
If those
contact
go on there,
and
I don't believe those are going to retract. I
no,
believe
yeah,
those are gonna be stable.
yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, these look like they're going to be permanently underwater, don't they?
This might give it the ability to not even need a tug.
Right.
You
Yeah.
might be able to get to the LZ on those.
And maybe that's something that would totally make sense that they would want to do that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Just let it get itself there. I mean, you'd still need people to go out there, but you wouldn't need to hire the tug every time, and that's sad for the tugboat driver. But
things to do. They bring cruise ships.
Yeah, he'll have work, I'm sure it's a cool job. He probably enjoys doing it. But yeah, I think I'm not sure what these are though. Is this like the power station or something?
Those are, Kohler generator.
Thruster hardware arriving. Yeah. Okay.
Very used. They've been sitting somewhere.
Yeah. But yeah, someone else made that point that it might be perhaps a drone ship version or next drone ship version will be fully self-propelled. And then Eric Ralph agreed. And this is where SpaceX Fleet said that he vetted his source carefully. And we're gonna have Gavin behind SpaceX Fleet on here at some point. We're just trying to decide when's a good time, because it's nice to have stuff going on when you have someone as a guest. And also, he lives overseas, and there's a big time difference, and there's issues with noise and time of day, and we work, and so it's actually we've already kind of talked about when would be a good time, and so far it's been tough to hammer out when would be a good time. But sometime in December, he said he's, I don't know, doing something that's going to make it where he has a little more flexibility, and then we can try to meet him in the middle. But yeah, these big old thrusters, I don't know. It's just one of those things, like, did not expect to see that. Like, I would think that was going to go on the next drone ship, the Shortfall of Gravitas, which everyone, I think the general consensus is that's going to be the one that catches super heavy.
Yeah.
Right.
But why would they be in Louisiana?
Well, I think that's where both the drone ships were built. Like when they were modified from being just a barge to being the drone ships. Is that right? Do you remember?
Was that where Oswey was?
I think so. I want to say that, yeah, when they got them, they sent them there, and that's where they were modified. I don't know. Somebody, if there's anybody in the chat still that knows, definitely chime in, because I can't remember for sure.
Yeah, that's some great shots that Gavin got.
Yeah, or whoever got it. Somebody sent those to him, obviously.
Right.
Yeah, because he's
Right.
like, I don't know, somewhere in Europe. I can't remember where.
Yeah.
There's a lot for me to unpack here.
Okay.
What is a drone ship? Give me an example of what a drone ship is, because I don't know.
It's the barge that the boosters land on. You've seen it out there at the at the port. The barge, the SpaceX barge.
The big flat one.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. Now thrusters. You say those are big thrusters. I don't have anything to compare them to.
Okay.
So those are the things that they're going to put under the water. That's going to make them be able to
propel. Yeah.
In different directions.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay.
They typically are sticking up out of the water, like if it's sitting still. Greg, do you have anything recently that I can quickly?
Yeah, I do.
Let me see. How far down do I need to
They're
scroll?
basically huge trolling motors. Is a good way of putting it.
Yeah.
It's like one on every corner.
Oh, that one doesn't have the thrusters. It's a nice close-up shot of. Okay, no, this one will do. Okay, yeah. Here, let me share. All right. Can you see this well enough, Becca?
Yeah.
These blue thrusters. So they're normally sticking up out of the water when they're not doing anything, and then whenever they need to, they fold down into the water. And of course, the drone ship is dragged out into the ocean by a tugboat. It doesn't get itself there, but once it's there, it can maintain its position, and it knows what the exact GPS coordinates need to be able to catch the booster, and then the booster knows exactly the same GPS coordinates, and that's where they have to meet. They're not communicating. The drone ship does acquire a signal. You'll actually hear them say drone ship acquisition of signal, but they're not passing information back and forth. Like the drone ship's not saying go a little to the left, go a little to the right, or anything like that. It's just they both have the same GPS coordinates programmed in there, and they just meet in the middle. But these thrusters help it to maintain that position.
Okay.
So what we're speculating is that these new thrusters are going to be permanent. Like, because they don't look like they're on a hinge or anything. They look like they would attach to the bottom of the drone ship and just hang in the water at all times.
Yeah, I think so.
Right?
And they're like twice the size of the ones on Oswey.
Yeah. Yeah,
They're twice the size.
That's hard to tell. You sound pretty confident. I'm not sure that I've really had a good opportunity to see something for scale, on those thrusters, on the blue ones. I've seen them move them around. I saw them like remove them and all that, but I've not seen.
Yeah, there's one laying on the ground over there on the port.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Was there something else to unpack?
No, I believe that I'm on the same page now
Okay.
about the thrusters.
All right.
That was a very nice photo, Greg, by the way.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I believe we're coming to the end. Greg, is there anything that you want to bring up specifically that we've forgotten?
Just want to tell everybody I appreciate them following along. And
oh, we didn't even mention you're shooting for SpaceX updates and Space Flash.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, man, that's so cool.
I really appreciate those guys. They've been great to work with, and I think it's going to be really good for both of us.
Yeah.
So,
so are you gonna start putting down some remotes out at the pad?
oh yeah,
Yeah.
I'll be putting down some on Sunday.
Okay, so you're in for Starlink. Okay, cool.
Oh yeah,
Awesome.
yeah, but I really appreciate it. There's just, it's such a great little family. The space people that deal in this all the time are such a great little family, whether it be from NASA Spaceflight, Chris and Eric and that's Hardy and SpaceX updates and SpaceX Fleet and Space Flash. Everybody just really works together well and makes it easy.
Yeah. It doesn't feel like it's a big competition,
No.
It's like
it doesn't.
Everybody wants to get the first shot, obviously. Everyone wants to get out there, get the first shot, but when you can't even, like, when I can't be at the port, I'm just like, all right, Greg, come on, man. Come on, Julia. Come on, John. Get out there. Do it. I need to see these shots,
Yeah. Yeah. And there's quite a few new people out there doing that now.
Yeah.
And more power to them.
Yeah.
Glad to have them out there. But I do appreciate all the new followers and like I said, I want to thank SpaceX Updates and Space Flash News for sponsoring me and helping me to get farther down the road.
Heck yeah. Well, thanks for coming on, man. I've been wanting to have you on for a while, and I figured, well, you crossed that 1,000 mark. I guess that's a good enough reason. It's like we spent so much time talking in the port, I was like, well, I got to have Greg on, man,
Yeah.
Yeah, Greg's a great dude. So if you're not already following him, I'm going to just pull up his page so you can see it. It's Greg Scott _photo on Twitter. And, he lives very close to the port. I won't be more specific, but he does live very close to the port. He has quick access, and a lot of times SpaceX Fleet, who is on the other side of the ocean, he'll see something, and he'll send a message to someone like Greg and say, "Hey, if you're available, could you go out and shoot this?" Or there's this going on. And Greg's one of those people that gets that message and is able to go out there and give you guys actual photos or videos or whatever he can do. So if you're not already, you got to follow him.
Thanks. Appreciate that.
Yeah, man. All right. Well, that's been a show. I was gonna, do this Dream Chaser video, but I figure we've been going an hour and this isn't like pressing. I'll try to remember that for next week and we'll show that then. But, yeah. So, Kegel, you want to play us out?
Play us out.
And thanks chat for being there, and thanks all your viewers out there, even you lurkers. We appreciate you.
All right. Everybody have a good night.
Yeah.
Shutdown sequence initiated. Shutting down.